In this hour, we're going to be talking about Medicare for all. And I want to start by saying this is how our media sometimes frame and distort the conversation around Medicare for all. This is from the Washington Post. It's an article about the new Medicare for all bill, but this is how it's headlined. Jayapal's Medicare for all bill reflects influence of hardline progressive groups. And this is how it begins. Representative Pramila Jayapal's sweeping Medicare for all bill, embraced by more than 100 House Democrats, reflects the influence of hardline liberal groups and unions. These players don't form the typical lineup of mainstream Democratic think tanks and activist groups that often help shape Democratic policy. Instead of consulting with influential organizations such as the Center for American Progress or Families USA, two groups deeply involved in the crafting of the 2010 Affordable Care Act, staff for the Washington Democrat, meaning Jayapal, invited feedback from over the past few groups from a slew of groups further to the left. Now, the whole vibe here, it seems to me, the whole undertone here is, why didn't you talk to those reasonable people at the Center for American Progress? Why didn't you talk to the usual groups? Why are you so hardline about all this? But remember, those groups, those more reasonable groups, Center for American Progress, for example, get funding from major corporations. They are not, grassroots groups by any means, whereas a lot of the quote-unquote hardline groups, and you say that like it's a bad thing, these hardline groups are groups supported by working people all across the country, by regular people all across the country. And so why the spin against it? I would argue it's because the kinds of policies that are supported by a majority of Americans in this country make a lot of people in insider circles a little bit uncomfortable. That's not a reason not to pursue them. Far from it. In fact, it's a reason to realize that when 70% of the people want something like Medicare for all, it is this political center of the conversation. It is the mainstream. It's not quote unquote hardline. It is popular. And that is not a bad word. Popular is a good word. So in this hour, as we go through some of the details and issues around Medicare for all and some of the exciting possibilities that it has, as well as its possible effect on private health insurance, remember, all of this is going to make life much, much better for everyone.